welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Hey, girl. Welcome in. Okay, so I love the new angle too. The only issue is I have a little trouble seeing it. I'm going to be honest. So I have this really long, it's like a peninsula, I guess you'd say. It's the counter, open on one side, kitchen on the other. And it's very long, and it's probably about 3, maybe 2.5, 3 feet wide. I mean, it's a pretty good size angle. And I got to thinking, like, we can only see a little bit of it. Like, I struggled to get the cookies in the picture, and I struggled to get all of the things in the picture. And so I thought, why am I not filming from this direction? Thank you for that daily heartbeat. Good morning. Thank you for that daily. So, guys, the only thing I am going to say is it might be a little harder for me to notice comments. So Jen, if you could put those comments up. Good morning. Good morning. Somebody had just asked how I was feeling. I'm not feeling 100%, but I'm not feeling bad enough to stay in bed. It's kind of like yesterday, but I am feeling better. So thank you. Hello, Nancy. Hi, Miss Patty. Hello, hello, guys. Little new angle. Let me know what you think. Yesterday I did have to work even though I wasn't on live, and I did these little elf pizzas. There you go, girl. I got mine going. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning. I am watching comments from over here too, and so hopefully I'll be able to see everything. So I just wanted to show you guys, I'm not actually going to cook on the live today, I don't think. Because I'm not feeling the best in the world, I thought I would come on and talk about, we need to bag pizzas. I do need to make some dough. I've got some icing that needs to be bagged up and stuff. So probably just going to do a few little things here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I thought they turned out super adorable. So I'll have to tell you what I did. When I first started, I was actually making them. Aw, thank you so much, sis, for those TikToks. Then I decided I didn't like the color of those pepperonis, so I changed the color of the pepperoni to a darker. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you lighting up all those GIFTS in that gift gallery. We do have good mornings up there, so if you guys are trying to get into our love away, make sure you put yourself up there in the good morning spot. I appreciate you. Oh, thanks for those friendship necklaces. So anyway, so the plan is to go ahead and we're going to bag these, and then we're going to put them into each of our little boxes. So hello, Carol, welcome in. We are working on bagging our elf pizzas today. You guys, you can actually see the mountain out the back of my window. So all of that right, I'm going the wrong direction. All of that right there, that is all a mountain. And so that is my view out my back window. I love it. Another snow day. Oh my goodness. Miss Patty, did your kids down that way have a snow day today too? I know down near Virginia Beach got quite a bit of, was scheduled to get snow. They were getting it yesterday when I talked to Miss Patty. Oh my gosh, you guys have already, it's pretty early to already have that many snow days, right? 2-hour delay. Yeah, that's what we had last week when we got that little bit of snow, was a 2-hour delay. And we kept thinking that the kids were going to get canceled for the day, but they did not. They actually ended up not canceling. So I'm going to move this out here so hopefully I can see this a little better here. I tried to get my blind up as high as I could, but it wouldn't go up any higher. I don't know what's going on with that. Hi, Donna. Welcome in, sweet friend. I appreciate you. Grand Rising, how are you today? I know. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate that daily heartbeat. It is 22 here today also. So it is very, very cold. Good. Grand Rising, Donna. How are you? How's lives going? How's all the things? I've been actually sick. I have not been doing a whole lot on TikTok. I haven't seen too many people live lately, so I got to get back on my game. I've been resting quite a bit when I'm not on here, trying to work on content for the community. So, is it cold there too? And Donna's in Florida too. So, oh my goodness. If it's cold there, that is serious. Of course, my dad is a Floridian, and he thinks that if it is below 68, it's cold. Oh, nice. So that's another reason we have a different angle today. So normally my camera is shifted this way and it's facing me towards the kitchen. However, I'm one of those goofy people. I have a Christmas tree in my dining room, and my dining room is just on the other side of this. It's kind of like one big room. And so my Christmas tree sits over here in the corner. So one of the things that it was creating was a little bit of a shadow onto the counter. So my thought was, let's film from this angle and see how we like that. So I think it's gonna work out great. Plus it gives you guys a lot bigger picture of what is going on here on the counter. You can see a whole lot more. Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate you. Yeah, I do too. I think this is a little better. I think we have a lot more room to spread out. You guys can see a lot more. You can see the cookie. Miss Patty, I don't know. I think I sent you this. Wasn't feeling great last night. This is our new design for our Santa cookie for this year. My boards are hidden. Why are my boards hidden? Oh, it's behind me. That's so weird. Okay, Donna, let me... thank you, sis. Let me move this over here. Let's see how that is. Tell me if that makes it better. Aw, thank you. Thank you, guys. She's actually in Virginia too, Miss Patty. She's down near Stanton. Yeah, so she's a Virginian too. Jamming to the church house this morning. All right, guys, so we're just gonna pop this on here. Move the yellow one a little bit more towards the center. Okay, guys, cool. How's that? I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna cover it again, y'all. How's that? Okay, I think that is gonna work. I think that pushes it over enough. This one, okay, the other one, because I was like, if I go like this, I go in front of it. I just realized it. Nice! Did I get it right now? I think I've got it right now. All right, guys, so right quick, I am going to, let me unplug this. I'm trying to decide what to unplug so we can use the heat sealer. I've got a lot of things plugged in. Okay, great. Well, I hope everybody warms up a little bit today. Our plan today is to finish packaging these little Elf on a Shelf mini pizzas. And I'll show you guys the boxes. We're going to put those in here soon. We do these up with a little box, a little sticker on top that says Elf Delivery. So that is our plan this morning. If you guys are just joining us and you've always wanted to create cookies just like this, you're welcome to check out the LINK in my EIEIBIO. That's going to show you the Blessed Batter community, and that's a space where we teach you how to do all of these things. And I was so excited yesterday to announce that we will actually be now offering digital classes. So all of our classes are done via ZOOM, but we're now going to be offering a digital class where you can learn how to create the images, I'm gonna drop it. Images like this to create your cookie cutter, to create your print, and bring it full circle to your clients. So if using AI to level up your cookie game, or using Canva to create your projects, your bag toppers, all the things, if that's something you've always wanted to do, you can get into the community right now for $19 a month. And you can check out that LINK in my bio. You get all of your master classes, my recipes. We do also have, there's a direct message that you can reach out if you have any trouble with your cookies, or you're in what we call as a cookie crisis. You have a community inside of there to help you to deal with that, to talk to you about their favorite products. You know, when I first started in this space, one of the things that I struggled with was finding the perfect products, and I can't tell you how much MONEY I spent trying to figure out how to decorate these cookies. Like what, from everything from the gel food coloring to what edible marker I was using to does butter really make a difference. All of those things were inside, that we have inside the community, are all questions that I struggled with when I first started decorating sugar cookies. I can promise you that my sugar cookies did not look like this when we first started. These are royal icing transfers on top. That's another thing that you get inside of the community. If you're somebody who wants to learn royal icing transfers, or you learn them but you spend a lot of MONEY a month on templates, if there's a royal icing transfer sheet that you need that we don't have in there, you just let me know and we'll create it for you and post it in the community so everybody can use it. So it's such a great space, and I encourage everyone to check it out. You can tap my face, and then you can tap my face again, and then there's like a bolded LINK there, and that's going to take you. This is a model 200. This is the impulse sealer. This is the second one of these. Okay, so it's the fourth heat sealer that I have had. Yes, it is the fourth one that I've had. I don't know if I'm hard on them. Also, guys, if you have any questions about cookies or cookie packaging or any of those things, if you have any questions about the community and everything that you get inside the community, please drop that in the chat. This is my, like I said, my fourth one. I don't necessarily recommend one kind over the other. I truly think that they are disposable, truthfully. I do know they have a little, like a little, what do you call it? Fuse inside of them, and I have tried to change the fuse on my old ones, and it didn't work. Once that fuse went out, I had to get a new one. Now I will also tell you that I have to replace this inside of here. So whenever you get your heat sealer, this little piece inside of here will come in a long little plastic thing inside of your box. Make sure that you save that. If you don't, you can't get them on AMAZON. So let me go grab these boxes, guys. If you'll continue to tap the screen for me. Alright, so I went ahead and grabbed the box of these. What I did was a couple of months ago, I found another cookier online who had a box of these for SALE, and she sent them to me, okay, and they're just little boxes. Some of them are plain, which is excellent because some of them are plain. I can put my own stickers on them, but several of them already have our Elf on a Shelf sticker, okay? So we're gonna need to fold this. This actually, believe it or not, is more tedious than some people think. Some people think that, you know, it's all just about making the cookies, and truthfully, it's about folding boxes, returning messages, all of those things, and balancing it all while trying to create sweet treats. Because as you know, if you're in this space currently, or if you have your own business in anything, you know that you're usually truly a one-man show. So That's another reason why I created the Blessed Batter community, was so that, you know, all of you one-man shows feel like you have some support. And if you're just learning cookie decorating, our class that we did over the weekend, we did these designs here along with 2 others. And we had some beginners in there, and the beginners are actually beginning to, their cookies are really beginning to come together, and some of them have been inside of the community only a month or so. Donna, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome in, guys. There's so many of you up top. I sure appreciate those daily heart me's. My name is Heather. If we have not had the opportunity to meet, I am a mom of 5. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you read my bio when you come in from prison to pastry, you know that my life has not always been here in the kitchen decorating cookies, talking to y'all about Jesus and cookies. My life took a lot of other different turns that were very unexpected, and so I come on here not only to teach you guys about cookie decorating, but to share my experience, strength, and hope that you can recover. And if you are somebody who's struggling today, and you feel like you just went too far for God to use you, I am here to tell you that that is not the case. And I hope that at some point here in our life today or another day, that you hear the hope of Jesus and what he can do for your life. And I tell you what, Jesus better do something with this box, y'all. Good morning, John. How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. How are you? Hey, listen, I went to catch your pizza video last night, and I didn't catch it because somebody called, and then I went back to look for it and I couldn't find it. So I'm going to have to go back and check it. I see we're putting seasonings on pizzas. I said I am here for it. Guys, if you do not know my friend John Farley down here from Farley Dips, he is an amazing bestie. We've been friends on this app since we first started. Him and his wife have a great company. They're also on the Blue Group, and they're here. Make sure that you go check out his content and his products. He really has some good stuff. I actually have some up right here in my kitchen. So we appreciate him always being here. All right, guys. So I'm just gonna stick a little piece of tape on this box because it is not gonna stay. All right. Hi, Terry. How are you? Hello, guys. If you don't know Terry down there, Terry is another member of our Blessed Batter community. He's one of the couple brave gentlemen that hang out with all us crazy ladies. He is always on our cookie decorating workshops. We had one over the weekend that was so much fun. Guys, if you're waiting on the replay to be uploaded, it just now dawned on me that I did not do that yesterday. I apologize. Like I said, I had been a little under the weather. And so there is our elf pizza box. And then when the littles open it, they'll have a cute little pizza on there. Terry, that's what Miss Patty, I didn't hear 3 inches, but Miss Patty had told me that you guys were getting some snow. She was very excited. I know, John, I know. We need some stickers. So what happened was I had all my stickers uploaded, and then when they did the switch, where they switched us from the $2.99 to the $9.99 subscriptions, they took all our stickers away. Okay, Terry. Yes, John, I will get some up there, buddy. I keep forgetting, man. We need some stickers so people can pop some stickers in that chat. Terry, have a great day. Good luck with your pickups today. Welcome in, guys. Terry joined us back several months ago. He is one of the OG members, along with Miss Patty and several others here in this group. So if you have any questions, no, Lorraine, it does not. So Lorraine is asking me if the heat sealer cuts off the top of the bag. It does not. It actually leaves it. What I do is when I heat seal it, I just fold it back, lay it down, and it kind of dries that way. So I did look for one that would cut the top, and I never found one that I liked, and so I've always just folded my tails back and have left it like that. Some people do go in and cut those off. So if you're one that you just don't care for that style, I don't think you really notice it. I think it's fine. Hi, Kat. Welcome in. Good morning, friend. Guys, there is another great bestie, Miss Kat there. She is another member of our community. Guys, if you have not had an opportunity, all of these things here are inside of our community. And right now, we do have an end of the year special going on, and you can get that for, you can get locked in at 19, A-M-O-N-T-H. Because in January that goes back up to 29. So whatever you lock in at now, that's the price you stay at. We do 2 cookie workshops a month, and starting in January, we're adding our digital workshop in. So I'm super excited to show you guys how I create designs like the thing on the front of this box. You know, all of those things that you go to ETSY to PAY for. You make cookies too, the crafted cookie. That's awesome. Where are you from? John, thank you so much for popping in, friend. Have a great day. So where are you from? Hello. I love when you guys know each other. I love when you guys see each other coming in if you haven't seen each other in a while. North Carolina in the house. Let's go. We're neighbors. I am from Virginia. Miss Patty in here is from Virginia. And Miss Mary, the Wildfire Warrior, she is from Virginia. So we are all neighboring states, friend. We do have several people inside of our community from South Carolina. I don't know that I have a North Carolina yet, but I do have a South Carolina, Miss Magnolia, Wendy, Magnolia Delights. She has been a member of the Blessed Pattern community since pretty much day one. And so has Miss Kat down there and Miss Patty. We're just so blessed to have such a great community. And there's a lot of very talented, you know, our community, yes, it's for beginners, but there are a lot of cookie decorators that are seasoned cookie decorators inside of the community because of the fact that we don't just teach cookie decorating, is we teach you a lot of other things. We do also have different types of cookies in there. We have macaron tutorials. Let me tell you something. If you have ever tried to make a macaron and just can't get it right, drop me a 1 in the chat. If you've tried to make a macaron and we're like, this is nonsense. If you think macaron making is nonsense, I have the tutorial for you. I'm telling you, it is 1 hour and 30 minutes long. I know that sounds like a long time, but what I do is I walk you through literally every step that I do. Every step that I do, every bowl that I wipe down with vinegar, every time I run it through the food processor, I walk through every bit of that with you as to help you to be able to myth bust that macarons are impossible to make. They are not impossible, but yet they are finicky. But we have that tutorial inside of there. We also have one on cake pops. And I'll tell you why those two are there. You say it's a cookie group. It is. But we all know, most of us cookie decorators, in order to keep full-time business, we like to add different elements to our business. It makes us be able to be full service. I always swore when I started cookie decorating that you could never get me to decorate a cake. I remember in the first 3 years, I remember people would ask me, like, why don't you do cakes? Why don't you do cakes? Well, then I made the mistake of taking some cupcakes to a church event. Don't take your cupcakes to a church event if you don't think that people are going to want you to start making cupcakes. So next thing I know, I was getting all kinds of calls for cupcakes. Now, I'm a cookie decorator by heart. That is 75% of my business. But I do enjoy doing these other things. And so I thought adding those types of things in there for you just added a bonus value to our group. And that's what we're trying to bring you. And so, with that said, I added the macaron tutorial. and I added the cake pop tutorial. And let me tell you something, I will tell you this, and to this day, this is still true. The cake pop tutorial inside of the community has been viewed more times than any other tutorial. I'm strictly cookies, but I do make cookie cakes. Let me tell you something, I was the same way, sis. I was the same way. I was like, oh no, I'm a cookie girl. That's all I do. That's my lane. People used to tell me royal icing is the hardest thing to learn. I don't agree with that. I think you have to be. Macarons are tricky. Good morning, Marilyn. How are you, friend? Hello, hello. So, macarons can be tricky. Cake pops can be very tricky. I mean, I remember doing cake pops one night, and I was so darn mad. And this is, I mean, thank God that my temperament has calmed down a little bit. But I threw an entire tray of cake pops across the kitchen. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm embarrassed that it happened, but it happened. I was so mad. I wanted so bad for these cake pops to work out, and I was so defeated. Good morning. I was so defeated, and let me tell you something. I prayed about it, and I told God, I was like, I have defeated addiction. I have defeated my circumstances. I have defeated the statistic that said that I would return to PRISON within 3 years as an ADDICT. I have overcome all of those things. I will be darned if I don't be able to overcome a cake pop. And that is truly how I proceeded with that. I dug my heels in. Same with the macarons. I can't tell you how many failed batches my family ate. Because, you know, a failed batch of macarons still tastes delicious. It just doesn't look as pretty as what the ones who turn out are. And so, you know, I think you just have to be, you know, you have to be willing to put the work in. And I find that that's probably 90% of the people's problem who start this business is they just don't realize the kind of work, and they get frustrated trying to figure everything out. And so I think that's what we've tried to do for you inside of the Blessed Founder community, is give you a space where you can begin to figure it out, and somebody is there to help you. Somebody's there to help you with social media ideas, because we all know that the best, and Gary Vee says it, he has said it for years, that the best form of advertising is on your social media platforms. It's free. They'll push your content if it's good content. That's another thing we are going to talk about come January, is if your cookies are pretty, but you're still not making SALES, why? What could you do different in your business to increase your SALES? Letty, she says, I would love one day to hear your testimony. Wow. Oh, I do tell my testimony on live all the time. And I can give you guys kind of a, I don't have time necessarily to tell it all today, but I can kind of give you an idea. Oh, you are doing great. Let me tell you something. Down there in the chat, Kat, listen, her buttercream, like she's talking about her sugar cookies. Her sugar cookies look great. I don't know what she's talking about. But let me tell you something. Her buttercream roses, her buttercream florals, she has them posted in the community. If you guys are already a member of a community, go check it out. Her stuff is beautiful. Yeah, Lorraine, right? Her stuff is absolutely beautiful. So, okay guys, so here's the deal. My name is Heather. I was born and raised in the Midwest, okay? I was born to two blue-collar parents. My dad was a custodian for the school district back where I lived, and my mom worked at a bank. From the time I was a young age, I was a spoiled, rotten brat. My family was wonderful. They did everything they could to give me everything I ever wanted, and it did everything short of almost killing me. And so, basically, I was born and raised in church. I believe at a really young age, God put a calling on my life to some kind of ministry. And I believe that the day that God put that calling on my life, that the devil came in and said, not today. And the devil took a hold of my life, and kept a hold of it for many, many, many years. Over those years, I gained and lost custody of my 4 children, periodically back and forth into treatment centers, into JAILS in institutions. And so between all of that, in 2008, my kids had all been sent to live with their dad. I was homeless. I was living on the streets. And I was a ADD ICT. And following that, I landed myself for 3 years. I'm sorry, all that started in 07, 08. Don't get me started on dates. I know numbers of years, but the dates are also a little bit foggy. I landed myself for 3 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. I stayed in the Illinois Department of Corrections for a total of 27 months. While I was in there, 27 months. I spent 2 Christmases in there. I spent several birthdays in there. I listened to my children open Christmas presents over the phone, and it was a tragic time. And you would have thought that I would have got out of there and things would have got better and whatnot, because I learned a lot in there. I went through a lot of rehabilitation. I was in a program where I got to have my daughter come into the PRISON. She was 3 at the time when I was there. I came home. I began to rebuild relationships. I began to work through all of the things that had caused me to do the things I've done. Because see, the reality of the situation, guys, is that DRUGS were only a symptom of my problem. The bigger problem lied inside of me. There was something inside of me that was broken. There was something inside of me that the enemy had an attack on. And God had a different purpose, and I just had to fight through and continue to push through what I was going through. I met a man in 2012. I had been home. I was a waitress in a restaurant. I was not currently using. I was currently sober. I met a man who I fell in love with, and he was different than anybody I had ever known. He had integrity, and he told me one time that if you give somebody your word, that's the only thing that you have. That's the only thing that a man is born and dies with. And he said that that's the one thing that you have to make sure, because nobody can take that away from you, is your word. And so I've held on to that over the years. We started dating, and shortly after we started dating, about 1.5 years, 2 years, I got pregnant with our youngest daughter. Her name is Isabella Grace. She was born in 2014, and immediately after her birth, they gave me a medicine because I had a C-section, and from that point forward, it kicked me back off into thank you, Kat. You're such a cheerleader you're such one of my cheerleaders. I just love you. And so that kicked me back off into a downward spiral with a small baby and a husband that had no idea what was going on inside. And one day, my husband came home from work, and he found out that I had been using recreationally on a daily basis, and you know, he's like, I don't want this for you, you know, this has to stop, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened again. I'll never do it again. Everything I thought was fine. And then he went on the road to travel for work. And when he went on the road to travel for work, I was left at home. I took care of all of our finances. And long story short, I made a trip out to Wasta, South Dakota. It was the beginning of the end for me. That trip happened the 1st of October in 2015. My daughter had just turned 1 year old, and we were headed out. We went out to see her dad. I drove from Illinois all night out to see her dad in Wasta, South Dakota. And how I ever ended up there safely, I don't know. God, angels, whatever it is that carried me that far, landed me at that hotel, and he realized that there were some serious problems. And from that point, that man never, ever took his eyes off of me for the first 5 years. Well, that's not true. He went overseas to work, but one of the things that he did was he moved me from my hometown. And at the time, I thought that was going to be really bad. And I found out later that that was the best move I could have made. And 10 years ago, we landed here in the Shenandoah Valley. And we just had our 10-year anniversary here on the 25th of October. And when we got here, I was still on, thank you, sweetheart, I was still on the methadone program. If you don't know what that is, I call it liquid handcuffs. That is where you are basically on a maintenance program to keep yourself from trying to go out and use illegal substances. And so I stayed on that for a year and a half. And in February of this upcoming year, I'll have 9 years sober. And that's 9 years sober from all of that. I technically have a little over 10 years from the street things. Oh, hey, Terry. Well, somebody had asked if I would give my story, and I wanted to give a brief version because what I need to tell you, more important than what happened in my addiction, is I need to tell you what God has done in my recovery, okay? So let me tell you, thank you. Let me tell you what God has done. The Holy Spirit just put goosebumps all over me. So what God has done in my healing, okay, is first of all, He has healed me from, I don't have the desire to drink or use or any of those type of things in excess anymore. I have a relationship with God that is beyond anything I could ever explain to you. I spend time with God now. I understand that God's plans for me are for good. Hey, welcome in, Rhonda. There's another member of our community. God brought me here to this point today to be able to tell somebody that if you feel like you have went too far, if you feel like God has completely left you and abandoned you, and you feel like you are the one person that God could never forgive, I'm here to tell you that no matter what you have done and no matter how far you've fallen from grace, God can redeem that. And I'm living proof of that. You know, I stole from people, I cheated people, I lied to people, I did all of these horrible things. I was a bad mom, I was a bad daughter, I was a bad sister, I was a bad wife, I was all of those things. And what God can do is He can completely take this crazy mess and set you on solid ground and show you that we serve a God with redeeming grace. I'm telling you, the things that have happened to me in my life, especially over the last few years, could only be God, you know. And I look for God in the small things today. You know, I was reading this thing last night, and it was talking about is everybody wants this booming miracle every single day, but we won't even acknowledge the small miracles that God brings us on a daily basis. Like, if you're not willing to acknowledge that God is in the details of your life, but yet you stand waiting for God to perform these big miracles, number one, that you don't ask for. We have an expectation, but we don't ask. Why don't we ask? Because most of us feel like when we are asking for these big miracles, I guess that God only did that back in Moses' day. That's not true. The same God that we serve today is the same God that Moses and them were serving back in in the biblical times. And I was reading today, one of my favorite verses is Jeremiah 29:11. But what I didn't ever really know was the context around Jeremiah 29:11. And what Jeremiah 29:11 tells us is, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for a future, not to harm you. That's paraphrased. But what happens is, why is God telling them that? Why is God telling these guys that He has these plans for them? He's reassuring them because when they were exiled out of Egypt and into Canaan, and they were brought into what they were considered as the promised land, they started behaving badly. So God says, you're in captivity, and oh, God rescue me, God rescue me, God rescue us. And God takes them out of captivity and He leads them into Egypt, or out of Egypt into Canaan. And they get to Canaan, and everything's great for a while. And He tells them, build houses in the land, take this land as if it was your own, treat it as if it was your own. And what do the people of God who were led out of exile from Egypt do now that they're in this great land? they start acting a fool again. They start acting a fool again. And so that's when God has to come in once again, many years later. I want to say, I think it says 70. It's either 30 or 70. Point being, they are staying in this land for so long because they just think now, well, God's rescued us, and now, here we are, and we've made a mess of what He's given us. Isn't that what all of us do? Don't all of us make a mess of what God has given us? Sometimes before we have to come to the realization that God doesn't want us to make a mess out of it, and if we trust Him daily, that we can figure out how to not make a mess out of our madness. We can find peace in that madness where we don't have to create more mess. Because in all reality, every time I'm in some type of turmoil in my own life, I end up turning it and making it a bigger mess. Instead of just turning it over to God and saying, here you go, I've screwed it up again. And God wipes my tears, and He tells me, just like He told the people in Canaan back then, this is what He tells me. Sorry, got it back. My page flipped. He tells me, this is what the Lord has said. You will be in Babylon for 70 years. So that means you're going to be in turmoil for 70 years. But then I will come and do for you all the good things that I have promised. And I will bring you home again. And then in comes my favorite verse, okay? Because I didn't know up until recently the context around this verse. I always knew that it was super important to my life, but I never understood okay, well, first of all, let me just preface. This was a verse that my grandmother had prayed over my life. I just got God bumps all over my body. She had prayed this verse over my life for my whole life, okay? From the time I was 15 years old when I got pregnant with my son, I was a cheerleader, I played varsity softball, I was all of those things, and I got pregnant at 15. I had my son at 16. By the way, he's a professional golfer now. Yay, we see you, God. Thank God God looks out for babies and fools, because I had no business raising that child when I was a child. I didn't have no business raising that baby when I was 20. So, praise God for all the people that He put in my kid's life to help my children become successful, because I wasn't able to be there. And you know what? As a person in recovery and as a person who is changing her life, I have to acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge those people that stepped in. I can't sit in my home for years and say to myself, oh, I was such a bad mom, and not truthfully acknowledge these people, these angels that God sent to give my children hope, to give my children a start. I have very successful children, and I am here to tell you it is not by anything that I have done. It is by He who has done it all. It is by the people that He put in their life, and it is about the prayers that have been prayed for generations over my life and the lives of my children. And I will tell you that this verse has spoke to me for years, and I did not know why. And let me tell you why. Because it says, I will bring you home again. So these people have been in this turmoil, and just like us in our life. I've been going through something here recently, and it's a battle that I have fought silently, because it's a very personal battle. It's not something that I chose to share with anyone, and I don't choose to share it today. But I'm here to tell you that I've been fighting a personal battle within my family dynamic and some other things over the last several months. And I can tell you that God, because I put my trust in Him, has brought me out of that exile that I was feeling from my family dynamic. I was feeling very disconnected. I was feeling like I was on an island all alone. And I can tell you that I prayed every day, God, give me courage. God, give me courage. And that's what I prayed for. I didn't pray for God to remove me from that situation. I prayed for Him to give me courage. And what He says to me in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster. So He's saying, all of these things that are happening to you, that's not my plan, sis. And it's not His plan for your life either. And then He says they are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. In those days when you pray, I will listen. If you look for me, if you search for me wholeheartedly, you will find me. I will be found by you, says the Lord. I will end your captivity and restore your fortunes. I will gather you out of the nations where I sent you, and I will bring you home again to your own land. And in my opinion, that is God's promise that tells me that when I am in turmoil and when I am in strife and when my salvation is being questioned because I am so stuck in my own mess. Jenny from the Rock! What up, girl? I am stuck in my own mess. This right here tells me he not only brought these people out of Egypt once, he brought them out of exile twice and still said to them, my child, even though you have for 70 years, almost at 100, 70 years, you have done bad. There was adultery. It says it all through the chapter. There was adultery. There was lying. There was misuse of taxes, misappropriation of funds. There was all of these things going on. And yet God still says, I have a plan for you. So if we can believe that the miracles back here actually happened, then I ask you to think to yourself today, why can't that miracle happen for me? So whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever it is that you're finding today is unpeaceful in your life, I'm here to tell you, I'm the queen of discourse, okay? Like, back in the day, I would walk in a room and everybody would just know that it's about to hit the fan. You know, I was my mom used to call me a bull in a china shop. But I can tell you that what God has done now with that energy, because honestly, that energy is still inside me. Listen, some days I have to decide what version of Heather they're going to get. Are they going to get the 1999 Heather, or are they going to get the healed Heather? And every single day, I pray that God gives me the strength to choose the healed Heather. Because the healed Heather is, even at her worst, is far better than the crazy lady that used to run around. And the reality is, I believe in 1992, I believe it was, that God put a calling on my life. And I believe that day that God put that calling on my life and showed me that calling back way back years ago, I believe is when the devil set in on me. And I believe from that point forward, I have fought and I have fought and I have fought to get to where I'm at. And I can tell you today that I am so proud to stand here in front of you. I have not only built a community online who loves and supports each other, I've made friends. Yes, that is so true, Terry. That is so true. I used to hear this all the time, is that God doesn't call the ready, God doesn't choose the ready, he readies the chosen. And so if you're feeling like you just have went too far today, I'm not sure how we got. It was really funny this morning because when I was coming to my live, I walked past my table in the living room, and God spoke to me to bring my Bible to the live, which I don't normally do. Usually we're here just doing cookies. If you guys have stopped in and you're like, I'm confused, don't be confused. I'm not just here to teach you cookies, but I'm also here to help lift you up and pray for you. If you have a prayer request, drop it in the chat. We'd love to have you come check out the community, learn all of our decorating tools, be there so that we can support you, get your STL files, your digital files, blah, 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 blah. There's so much. But what you also get is a community that is built and based on truth and respect. And we try to respect everyone inside of the community. We try to make sure that everybody feels seen, that if you're struggling with something, that we help you with it. If you reach out to me, whether it's about the Bible verse that we read today, or in the live the other day, somebody asked a question that wasn't even necessarily related to the live, but I believe that because our live workshops are interactive. And so, but it was like so cool because we were able to answer it there, and it might have been a question that somebody else had. So if you've stuck around this long, I want to tell you that God can change your life. I hope that by hearing a little bit of my story today, I hope by hearing what God says about you, I hope by hearing that even back in Jeremiah 29, that even back then, God would fix people's lives, they would mess it up, and then he would fix it again. And that just shows us that God has a bigger plan for us. I never truly knew the context around what I considered my favorite verse until recently. And I'm so grateful that that verse even speaks louder to me. Maybe it wasn't meant for me to know the context necessarily around that until this very moment today. Because what I had to see was that if God brought me through that valley way, way back years ago, that whatever valley I'm facing today, right here in Scripture, it tells me that I'm going to get past that again today. And so I've been praying a lot for courage. I pray for courage for you. I pray that God gives you the courage you need to get through whatever it is that you're going through. And hey, it might only be something little to you. Like you might think to yourself like, oh, God's not worried about me. You know, I only have one kid who won't act right at school. I got a daughter that's 11 that I'm scared to death about. And I got, but God's not worried about me because my problems aren't big enough. Listen to me when I say, one of the greatest things you can do is pray for your children. So if any of your problems have anything to do with your kids, please, or any of your problems, period, they're not too big for God, obviously. But do the best thing that you can and start praying for those babies. Because I can tell you that it was prayers from people over the years and over the years and over the years. Ah, yes! My pleasure. I can tell you that the prayers that have came down from generations, you know, I used to laugh at my grandma. So if you guys don't know, my grandma was one of the greatest ladies I've ever known. And I tell you this because she was one of the people that I hurt the most. But in the rebuilding and the inventing of my life here in the mountains, I had the privilege of having her come live with me for the last year and a half, 2 years of her life, where I got to take care of her every single day. And she was ill and she had a lot of doctor's appointments and we spent a lot of time together. And I used to laugh. I love this song. I used to laugh because she was always starting a prayer chain. You know, I would go to the girly doctor and I would be afraid to tell her what happened at the girly doctor because I was afraid she was going to have all her sisters praying over my situation. If you know what I mean. And we used to laugh about it. But today, I look back and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to her and all of those old ladies that prayed in that prayer chain. Because I firmly believe that... Aw, thank you. I appreciate it. You know what? Here's the thing. Because what God can fix... No, man, you can't. I couldn't have done this. I could not have done this on my own. I could not have been left to my own devices. As Miss Patty just said, it is completely amazing to see what God can do. And that's why so when I first moved to Virginia, I didn't tell nobody my story. One of the things that I found was that I was going to keep it as quiet as I could because, number one, I had a 1-year-old and I didn't know where we were going to end up. I didn't want people to know anything about her mom. I just wanted to be Bella's mom. So I didn't tell anybody my story. And so that meant we didn't tell my daughter my story. And she turned 11 in June. And in February or March of this year, when I came on this app and I realized that God was calling me to do something more than what I was currently doing, and I knew that my ministry was going to start to open up, and it was going to open. I didn't know at the time that it was going to open up through cookies and stuff, but anyway, I believed it was time to set her down and have a conversation with her as to the monster that her mom was, so to speak. And so we did. We sat down and had a talk. And she was very, I was very scared because, the mom she knows, the woman that she knows I am is not at all the mom that I used to be. And so I think in her little brain, she can't even necessarily fathom. One time she said to me, yes, that's a key, Steph, or Samantha, that's a key. That's a key. And one time she said to me, Mom, you're such a rule follower. And I just literally laughed. I was like, you know how amazing it is to have my child say that to me today? And so, long story short, she's been one of my biggest supporters when I said that I was going to come on TikTok and share my story, because what that also meant was that there was a chance, not a huge chance, but a chance that people from our hometown, well, not the hometown, but people from our town would see my story. And what I explained to my husband and anybody else that asked is I felt like I had 10 years to prove who I was out here. And that if in that 10 years I did not prove to everyone here, to myself, to my family, to all these people that God had changed my life, now I could share that part of my story, because there wasn't any judgment. They got to see the deliverance part first. And I think that makes a very powerful statement, or the delivered part first. I think that makes a powerful statement to people. Yes, people from my hometown who watched me go through all of the things that I went through, I honestly think that those people, yes, while they're impressed, blah, 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 whatever, the real impressiveness comes when they get to hang out with me. You know, they get to actually walk my life with me. They get to see that it's a very different show over here these days. Like, it's not the same. We don't talk the same. We don't walk the same. We don't look the same. We're not better than anybody else. But we live a life that is respectable, that we honor God in all that we do. So I think it's very powerful for both sides of that. The people who did get to witness the change, or the people who get to witness the changed person and then hear the stories that they tell me they can't believe. So if you've been in here, I just want to say that if you continue to do the next right thing and you continue to put God first in your life, and I don't know what that looks like for you. I think for everybody it looks different. I think some people, somebody told me yesterday, I just can't handle it. I get all frazzled. I said, you know that the opposite of frazzled is faith. And that's truthfully what I hang on to every single day. I can stay frazzled and I can stay trying to figure out my situation myself, or I can give it to God, do the next right thing, work diligently to do everything He's put in front of me, and God seems to work all of that out. And so, thank you so much. We're going to close, we're going to pray, and we're going to close it out right now. So, I just want, if you guys want to pray with me, God, thank you for bringing us to this moment. God, let me get Lady Gaga off of hold on. I'm holding a prayer. I can't pray with Lady Gaga going on. I don't know how that ended up there, but we're going to leave it there. All right, God, thank you so much for bringing us to this time and place today. God, I thank you for the people that you have brought into my life through this app, through our community. I thank you for the things that you've done, not just in my life, but in my family's life. I thank you that you continue to pull us from our messes, just like you did back in the day when you pulled the Israelites out of Egypt, and then again had to rescue them again. And then you continue to say to us that you know the plans that you have for us that are for good. And so basically, God, we thank you for rescuing us. I thank you for all of the people here that are, struggling. I thank you that they were able to maybe listen today and have a little bit of hope in you. God, I pray that the people that are over my earshot will have an amazing day, and they will let their light shine for you today, because we know that through you and in you is how we do all things. I thank you. I ask you to go with us for the rest of our days. If there's any prayer requests that got dropped in the chat that I didn't see, if there's any healing that needs to be done in our chat, God, I ask that you just put your healing hand upon them, and in whatever way it is that they need, you know what their needs are. So, God, in this season, we thank you for sending your son Jesus to die for us. You sent him as a baby, as a human baby, and it was the ultimate sacrifice. And we just thank you for that we get to live freely through the blood of Jesus. And it's in all of these things that I pray today. Amen. Guys, if nobody's told you today, I love you and Jesus loves you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Go slay today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, Lorraine. Sorry, I just seen that. So we're starting Eddie and Canva in January. So a couple of weeks, we're going to start working with those, doing digital classes on that. And then the 3D cookie cutters, we do have the STL files. That will likely be the 3D printers, working cookie CAD. Those are all things that we're looking to add in January because, what happened here? Oh, hold on. That we're looking to add in January to kind of help everybody over the winter start practicing these things to level up. So yes, the subscription includes all of your workshops, all of my workshops, recipes. You can go back and watch the previous ones. Thank you, Millie. You can go back and watch the previous tutorials. So anything you've missed, like if you want the royal icing mix masterclass, that's in there. That is the best. The royal fix. Thank you. The royal fix is in there as well. So you guys can check that out as well. Yes. So Lorraine has a great question. If you join the community now for the 19, you stay that price. So when the price goes back up to 29, you will always be at the 19. That's what the exciting thing about getting in. So when we first opened the community, because it was brand new, it was only 10. And then we had put so much stuff in there that we felt like the value of the classes and the workshops. These were the cookies we did in the workshop. If anybody hasn't seen them, this is one of them, my little smirky elf. No one else has these cookie cutters but somebody in the community, okay? Because we designed these cookie cutters. The only set we did not design is the Thanksgiving one. But if you would like to have those cookie cutters made, Miss Patty is making those for everyone. So yes, we hope that some of you choose to come over and hang out in the community. I think that you'll find that it's a great space to learn. As soon as I get off here today, I am going to go post the video that we did from the Cozy Christmas experience over the weekend. The STL files for that are uploaded in the community, so you are able to get those. So that includes the reindeer, the Santa, the elf, the gnome, the mittens, the hot chocolate, the ornament, and the reindeer. I think I said it all. And you will also find Millie in there, our digital boss. She spends a lot of time in there. Guys, also, we do all kinds of stuff inside of there as far as if you want a tutorial on how to flood cookies, some different techniques on how to do different baby shower cookies. There's all kinds of stuff. So check it out. We hope to see you guys there. And I will see you guys tomorrow.